She pulled a dying silver wolf from a frozen ravine and gave him everything she had. Days later she discovered the beast was actually the Alpha King himself and her fated mate. But when his kingdom found them, he let his people call her a monster, and she disappeared carrying his unborn children. 5 years later she returned as the powerful Ice Luna with twin heirs and a heart colder than winter. Now the Alpha King wants his family back, but one deadly secret could destroy them all. The wolf should have been dead. It lay at the bottom of the frozen ravine like a fallen king. Snow covered its silver fur and blood spread beneath its body like red paint across white silk. The storm above screamed through the mountains and the icy wind cut through Elara Frost's cloak. She stood at the edge of the cliff with a lantern trembling in her hand. One more step and she could turn around. One more step and she could go home. No one would ever know she had seen the beast. Then the wolf opened its eyes. Golden eyes. Bright and alive despite the pain. And then something impossible happened. A single tear slid down its face. Elara forgot how to breathe. A wolf was not supposed to cry. A monster was not supposed to look so lonely. Her chest tightened. 'Cause she knew that look. She had worn it her entire life. She tied the lantern to her belt and climbed down into the ravine. Ice cracked beneath her boots. The wind pulled at her white fur cloak. The wolf watched her every move. It was enormous. Bigger than any creature she had ever seen. One bite could kill her. Still she kept walking. When she finally reached it, she knelt beside the beast and touched its blood-stained fur. "You are not dying tonight." The wolf closed its eyes. A strange blue light flashed between them for only a second. Elara pulled her hand back. The light vanished. She frowned. Maybe the cold was making her imagine things. She looked at the deep wounds on the wolf's side. These were not hunting injuries. Someone had attacked him. Someone had wanted this creature dead. The thought made her strangely sad. She wrapped both arms around the wolf's neck and tried to pull. Nothing. The beast was too heavy. She tried again. Still nothing. A small laugh escaped her lips. "You are determined to die here, aren't you?" The wolf opened one eye. Almost as if it understood. An hour later she was still dragging him through the snow. Her hands hurt. Her legs shook. Her lungs burned. But she did not stop. At last the tiny cabin appeared through the storm. She pushed open the door and pulled the wolf inside. Warm firelight filled the room. The cabin was small and simple. Bed, table, fireplace. Nothing more. It had been enough for her for years. She knelt beside the animal and began cleaning its wounds. The wolf never growled. Never snapped. Simply watched her. "You are strange," she whispered. "Most creatures are afraid of me." The words left her mouth quietly. Almost sadly. People in the village called her cursed. Whenever she cried, strange things happened. Snow would fall in spring. Flowers would freeze. The river would turn to ice. The villagers feared her. Children stayed away from her. Men refused to marry her. Women whispered when she walked by. Monster. But cursed girl. She had heard every name. The wolf slowly rested its head on her lap. Elara froze. Then she smiled. A real smile. "Perhaps you do not think I am cursed." She stroked its silver fur. The animal closed its eyes. The storm outside grew stronger. Hours passed. The fire crackled. The cabin became warm. And for the first time in years Elara did not feel lonely. Then someone pounded on the door. She jumped. Another knock. Then another. "Open up." A man's voice. Several men. Her heart began to race. She stood and walked to the door. The wolf lifted its head. "Stay here," she whispered. She opened the door. 3 villagers stood outside carrying lanterns. Bram stood in front. He was the village hunter and he never smiled at her. "We saw tracks," he said. "Tracks. Wolf tracks. A very large wolf." Snow fell between them. Elara forced herself to remain calm. "I have not seen anything." Bram looked over her shoulder into the cabin. "You live alone. If there is a beast nearby you should tell us." I said, "I have not seen anything." The wind suddenly roared. Snow spun around them in circles. The men's faces turned pale. It always happened. Whenever Elara became frightened, strange things happened. Bram stepped back. His eyes narrowed. You always bring bad luck. His words cut deeper than they should have. He lowered his lantern. If you see the beast, tell us. Then the men disappeared into the storm. Elara closed the door and leaned against it. For a long moment she simply stood there. Then she heard a soft sound. The wolf, watching her. She smiled weakly. I think I just lied for you. The wolf slowly stood and walked toward her. She did not move. The giant animal stopped directly in front of her and gently pressed its nose against her hand. Warmth spread through her chest. Something strange. Something she could not explain. You really are different. The wolf lay beside her bed, as if it had already decided it belonged there. Outside the cabin, hidden among the trees, another man watched. His dark cloak moved with the wind. His face remained hidden. Commander Cedric Vale. The Alpha King's trusted beta. And the man who had thrown the king into the ravine. He stared at the cabin and smiled. So you survived. Then his eyes moved toward the small window. And someone found you. A cruel laugh escaped his lips. Poor girl. You have no idea what danger has entered your home. He turned and disappeared into the darkness. Inside the cabin, Elara finally fell asleep. The wolf remained awake, watching her, protecting her. Moonlight slipped through the window. Silver light covered his body. Then came a crack. Another. Bones shifted. Muscles changed. The giant wolf slowly rose. Its form twisted. Its fur vanished. Moments later, a tall man stood beside the fire. He had long black hair and golden eyes. His body was covered in scars. He stared at the sleeping woman. A woman who had saved his life. A woman whose scent made his heart pound. A woman he had searched for without knowing it. One word escaped his lips. At that exact moment, Elara opened her eyes. She looked at the naked stranger standing beside her bed. And she screamed. Elara's scream shook the little cabin. The man standing beside her bed stepped back immediately. His golden eyes widened. Please do not be afraid, he said. She grabbed the wooden chair beside the table and held it in front of her like a weapon. Who are you? The stranger looked down at himself and finally realized he was completely naked. For the first time since she had met him, he looked embarrassed. Can explain. No, you cannot, she shouted. There was a giant wolf in my house, and now there is a naked man standing beside my bed. I think I deserve a better explanation than that. For a second, silence filled the room. Then the man actually smiled. A deep, warm smile that somehow made him look younger. I was the wolf. Elara stared at him. Then she slowly sat down. She looked around the room. The giant wolf was gone. Only this man remained. She swallowed hard. You are telling me that wolves can become men? Can. And you are one of them? She rubbed her forehead. I think I hit my head while climbing the ravine. A small laugh escaped him. It was the first laugh he had made in days. The sound surprised even him. Elara looked at him again. His black hair fell to his shoulders. There were old scars across his chest. His golden eyes seemed almost unreal. And despite everything, there was something familiar about him. Something safe. She stood and grabbed a blanket from her bed. Here. He looked confused. Take it. You are making me uncomfortable. A smile appeared on his face again as he wrapped the blanket around himself. Thank you. She crossed her arms. Now start talking. The man looked into the fire. My name is Kale. Only Kale. She noticed the small pause before he answered. He was hiding something. I found you in the ravine, she said. Someone attacked you. Who was it? His eyes darkened. I do not know. 'Twas a lie. She could feel it. But she did not press him. You saved my life, he said quietly. Oui. The question surprised her. 'Cause you were hurt. That is all. Most people would have left me there. Most people are not me. Their eyes met. Something warm passed between them. Something strange. Kale looked away first. What is your name? Elara. Beautiful name. Her cheeks turned slightly pink. Nobody had called her name beautiful before. Outside, the storm finally began to calm. Morning light slipped through the windows. Kale stood. The wounds on his body had almost disappeared. You heal very fast, she said. It is one of my gifts. Are there more? Many. Can you turn into a bird too? He looked offended. Well, she laughed. Real laugh. For a moment the lonely cabin felt alive. Hours passed. She made soup while Kale repaired a broken chair. It felt strange having another person in the house. Stranger still that she enjoyed it. Tell me about yourself, he said. There is not much to tell. Try me. She became quiet. I lost my parents when I was very young. I do not know who they were. The villagers raised me. Or at least they tried. Nobody wanted the cursed child. Kale frowned. Cursed. Whenever I cry, strange things happen. Snow appears. Ice forms. People become afraid. As if proving her words, a cold wind suddenly moved through the cabin. Kale watched her carefully. You are not cursed. You do not know me. I know enough. She looked down. Nobody had ever said those words to her before. Then something slipped from beneath her dress. A silver necklace. Kale's eyes widened. May I see that? She touched the pendant. I have worn it my whole life. It was with me when I was found. Kale gently held the necklace in his hand. A snowflake carved from crystal. Strange. Very strange. He had seen that symbol before. Long ago. But where? A sudden pain struck his head. Memory. Castle of ice. A woman crying. A child wearing the same necklace. The image vanished. Kale released the pendant. Where did you get this? Told you. I do not know. His heart began beating faster. Who are you, Elara Frost? Before he could ask another question, a loud crash came from outside. Both of them turned. Another crash. Then the sound of horses. Kale moved to the window. His expression darkened. Riders. At least 20. Elara turned pale. Villagers. Well, these are soldiers. How do you know? 'Cause I trained them. She looked at him. Nothing. Another lie. The horses stopped outside. A voice echoed through the snow. Alpha King. We know you are here. Elara froze. Alpha King. Slowly she looked back at Kale. His face had changed. The warmth was gone. Now he looked powerful. Dangerous. Like a king. You are the Alpha King, she whispered. Silence. Then he nodded. The room suddenly felt smaller. He took one step back. Then another. The wolf. The man. The stranger in her cabin. He was not just anyone. He was the most feared ruler in the Northern Kingdom. Why did you lie to me? Because for the first time in years nobody wanted anything from me. You treated me like a man. Not a king. The door burst open. Soldiers rushed inside. They immediately dropped to one knee. Your Majesty. Their leader looked up and smiled with relief. We finally found you. Kale nodded. Then another figure entered. A beautiful woman wearing a dark blue cloak. Her eyes landed on Kale. Tears filled them instantly. Oh. She ran toward him and wrapped her arms around him. Thought you were dead. Elara stood silently. Something sharp twisted inside her chest. The woman looked at her. And her smile disappeared. Who is she? Kale opened his mouth. But before he could answer, the woman spoke again. Her voice suddenly cold. Why is there a human girl living alone with my future husband? The cabin became silent. The beautiful woman stood beside Kale with one hand wrapped around his arm. Her eyes never left Elara. Cold eyes. Sharp eyes. Eyes that already hated her. Kale slowly pulled his arm free. Lyra, this is not what you think. The woman's expression changed. Not what I think. I searched for you for days. Prayed for you. Cried for you. And I find you in a lonely cabin with another woman. Her voice broke. The soldiers looked away. Even Elara felt uncomfortable. She took a step back. I should leave. Well. Kale's answer came too quickly. Everyone looked at him. He cleared his throat. I mean, you saved my life. Owe you my thanks. Lyra's face became even colder. Saved your life. She looked at Elara from head to toe. A poor mountain girl saved the Alpha King. What a wonderful story. Her words carried poison. Elara lowered her eyes. She was used to such looks. Used to people judging her before they even knew her name. One of the soldiers stepped forward. Your Majesty, we should return to the palace immediately. The kingdom believes you are dead. Kale nodded slowly. Then his gaze moved to Elara. Come with us. She blinked. Me. You are not safe here. The men who attacked me may return. Lyra laughed softly. Surely you do not intend to bring her to the palace. Kale's jaw tightened. I decide who enters my palace. Silence followed. No one argued. Not even Lyra. But the look in her eyes promised trouble. An hour later, Elara sat on a horse behind one of the soldiers. The little cabin disappeared behind them. Snow covered the roof. Smoke still rose from the chimney. It had been her home. Now it looked so small, so far away. She suddenly felt afraid. The world beyond the mountains was unknown to her. Kale rode beside her. You are quiet. I have never left the village. Then perhaps it is time. She looked at him. Why are you being kind to me? 'Cause you saved me. That is not the only reason. He became silent. The truth sat heavily in his chest. The word echoed in his mind. The moment he had transformed, he had known. Elara was his fated mate. The woman chosen by destiny. Yet he said nothing. Not now. Too many questions remained. Too many dangers surrounded them. As evening approached, the palace finally appeared. Elara forgot to breathe. The castle stood on a mountain of black stone. Its towers touched the clouds. Golden lights shone from hundreds of windows. It looked like something from a dream. Or a nightmare. The giant gates opened. People filled the courtyard. Servants, guards, nobles. The moment they saw Kale, a cheer rose into the air. The Alpha King lives. The king has returned. People cried. Some even fell to their knees. Elara had never seen so many people. She suddenly wished she were back in her little cabin. Kale climbed from his horse. Then he turned toward her and held out his hand. She hesitated. Take my hand. She did. Warm fingers closed around hers. For one strange moment everything felt calm. Then a voice cut through the crowd. There she is. Everyone turned. Lyra stepped forward. Her face looked pale and worried. This girl must be questioned. Kale frowned. Questioned. She was alone with the king for days. How do we know she did not attack him? The courtyard fell silent. Elara's heart skipped. Attack him. I would never. How do we know that? Saved him. That is what you say. Murmurs spread through the crowd. People began staring at her. Whispering. A mountain girl. Stranger. Possible assassin. Kale stepped forward. Enough. But Lyra was not finished. She touched her chest dramatically. I only wish to protect the kingdom. What if this girl worked with the enemies who attacked you? The whispers grew louder. Elara's hands trembled. She knew these looks. She knew this fear. The same expressions she had seen all her life. Monster. Pest. Danger. An old noble stepped forward. Your Majesty, perhaps she should be investigated. Another agreed. And another. The crowd turned against her. Kale looked around the courtyard. Too many people. Too many voices. Politics. Tradition. Rules. For the first time in days he looked uncertain. Elara saw it. The strong king who had seemed fearless now stood silent. She felt something break inside her. You do not believe them. Kale looked at her. I do not know what to believe. The words struck like a knife. Her eyes widened. You do not trust me. Silence. That silence said everything. Tears burned her eyes. She quickly looked away. A servant suddenly gasped. Look. Snowflakes. Everyone looked up. Snow had begun to fall. The sky had been clear moments ago. Fear spread through the crowd. A woman pointed at Elara. "It is her." Another step back. "The cursed girl." Ice suddenly spread across the stones beneath her feet. The entire courtyard froze. People screamed. "She's a witch. Arrest her." "Whoa." Elara stepped back. "I did not do this." Guards surrounded her. Kale watched in shock. He remembered her words. "Whenever I cry, strange things happen." She had told the truth. But the people did not care. They only saw danger. "Take her away," someone shouted. "Whoa." Kale finally moved. But he was too late. Elara's eyes met his. They were full of pain. Full of betrayal. "I saved your life," she whispered. "And you let them call me a monster." He had no answer. Not one. Her tears finally fell. The snowstorm exploded around the palace. Wind screamed. Ice covered the walls. People ran in fear. In the middle of the chaos, Elara turned and ran. Kale shouted her name. She never looked back. Hours later the storm ended. Elara was gone. No one could find her. No tracks remained in the snow. Nothing. Kale stood alone in the courtyard. For the first time in years, fear entered his heart. Then one of the palace healers approached him. "Your Majesty." "What is it?" "I examined the girl's room after she left." Kale frowned. The old healer swallowed hard. "Found something." She held out a small cloth. Inside was a tiny bottle. "Medicine for morning sickness." Kale stared at it. The healer looked up. "Your Majesty, I believe the girl is carrying a child." The world suddenly stopped. A cold feeling spread through his chest. Then a terrifying thought entered his mind. Child. His child. At that exact moment, a distant wolf howl echoed through the night. And Kale realized his mate had disappeared. The snowstorm swallowed Elara whole. She ran until her legs could no longer carry her. The palace lights disappeared behind her. The cold bit into her skin. Her lungs burned. Still she kept going. Tears streamed down her face, and with every tear the storm grew stronger. She could still hear the words. "I do not know what to believe." Kale's voice echoed inside her mind. The man she had trusted. The man she had saved. The man whose eyes had made her feel less alone. He had doubted her. That pain hurt more than the freezing wind. At last her knees gave out. She fell into the snow. The world around her became white and silent. "I should never have left my cabin," she whispered. Her hand slowly moved to her stomach. Child. She was carrying his child. The thought made fresh tears fall. "I am sorry, little one. I do not know how to protect you." A strange warmth suddenly spread beneath her hand. She frowned. Then she heard something. Voices. Soft voices. Footsteps in the snow. She tried to stand, but her body was too weak. Dark figures appeared through the storm. 5 people dressed in white cloaks surrounded her. One of them knelt. An old woman with silver hair and bright blue eyes. She touched Elara's cheek. Then she gasped. "Impossible." The old woman's hands began to shake. "Bring her inside." The world faded into darkness. When Elara opened her eyes, she was no longer in the snow. She lay on a soft bed. Warm light danced across the stone walls. Fire burned nearby. She slowly sat up. "Where am I?" "You are safe." The voice came from the corner of the room. The old woman stepped forward. Her face was kind. "Who are you?" "My name is Mira. And this place is called Frost Haven." Elara frowned. She had never heard that name before. "It is hidden deep within the mountains," said Mira. "No map can find it. No enemy can enter it. Why did you bring me here?" Mira looked at her carefully. "Because we have waited for you for a very long time." The words made no sense. "Waited for me?" Before Mira could answer, another woman rushed into the room. She looked frightened. "The crystal has awakened." Mira's face turned pale. "Ready." She turned back to Elara. "Come with me." They walked through long halls made of ice and silver stone. Elara stared in amazement. People filled the corridors. Men and women dressed in white. Children running and laughing. An entire hidden city inside the mountain. At the center of the city stood a giant crystal. It glowed with soft blue light. The moment Elara stepped closer, the crystal suddenly shone brighter. Gasps filled the room. Whoa, cannot be. Mira slowly fell to one knee. Then everyone else did the same. Elara looked around in confusion. What are you doing? The old woman's eyes filled with tears. Your Highness, welcome home. Silence. The words struck like lightning. Highness, I do not understand. Mira stood. Long ago there was another kingdom in these mountains. The Ice Kingdom. Its royal family possessed the power of winter. 25 years ago the royal family was murdered. Only one child survived. Baby girl. Elara's heart began to race. Whoa. Mira gently touched the necklace around Elara's neck. The snowflake pendant. The symbol of our royal blood. You are that child. You are Princess Elara of the Ice Kingdom. The room spun. She could barely breathe. Whoa. You are mistaken. I am only a healer. I lived in a small cabin. Have no family. You do. Thousands of people have been waiting for your return. Tears filled her eyes. Everything she had believed about herself suddenly shattered. The orphan girl. The cursed child. The lonely healer. None of it was true. Who killed my parents? Myra's expression darkened. We do not know. The murderer was never found. But one day we will learn the truth. Before Elara could speak, another sharp pain spread through her body. She gasped. Then another. Myra's eyes widened. Baby. Another pain came. Stronger. Elara doubled over. Fear rushed through her. Whoa. Not now. Mira grabbed her hand. Take her to the healers. Quickly. Hours later snow fell gently outside the chamber. Elara lay on a bed breathing hard. The pain was unbearable. Women surrounded her. You are doing well. Just one more push. She cried out. Then suddenly a baby's cry filled the room. Tiny boy. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Before she could even hold him, another pain came. Everyone stared. Another child. Push again. Moments later another cry echoed through the chamber. Little girl. Twins. Elara looked at them in disbelief. Boy and a girl. Both had tiny patches of silver hair. They were beautiful. She held them against her chest. Hello, my little ones. The boy suddenly sneezed. A small burst of snow appeared above his head. The room became silent. Then the little girl laughed. Tiny snowflakes began dancing around the bed. Mira slowly smiled. The royal blood lives. Years passed. The twins grew quickly. The boy was named Rowan. The girl was named Luna. Both had their mother's blue eyes. Both carried strange powers. Winter followed them everywhere. And every night before sleep they asked the same question. Mother, who is our father? Elara always smiled sadly. One day I will tell you. But every time she looked at them she remembered golden eyes. She remembered a warm cabin. She remembered a king who had broken her heart. One evening Mira entered the garden. She held an old wooden box. Think it is time. Inside the box lay a golden crown made of ice crystals. Mira placed it into Elara's hands. What is this? The crown of the Ice Kingdom. You are no longer the frightened girl who came to us. You are our queen. Elara looked at the crown. Then at her children playing in the snow. The lonely healer was gone. Something stronger stood in her place now. Something powerful. Mira smiled softly. Rise, princess. Rise as the ice Luna. Far away in the Blackthorn Palace, a lonely king stood beside his window. 5 years had passed. 5 years without a single sign of his mate. Suddenly a servant burst into the room. Your Majesty, we have found her. Kale's heart stopped. The servant swallowed hard. She is alive. And she has returned. 5 years can change a person. The frightened girl who had once lived alone in a wooden cabin no longer existed. In her place stood a queen. Elara stood at the top of the frozen cliff and looked across Frost Haven. Snow covered the mountains like a blanket of silver. The hidden kingdom glowed beneath the morning sun. People moved through the streets below. Children laughed. Warriors trained. The kingdom lived once more. A cold wind lifted Elara's long silver hair. She wore a white gown lined with fur and a crystal crown rested upon her head. She looked every bit the queen she had become. A small snowball suddenly hit her shoulder. "Mother." She turned and smiled. Rowan and Luna were running toward her. Both children looked exactly like their father. The same dark hair. The same golden eyes. Every time she looked at them, her heart ached a little. Luna threw her arms around her. "You promised to train us today. And you promised to tell us a story." Rowan crossed his arms. "Story about dragons." Elara laughed softly. "There are no dragons." "How do you know?" "Maybe they are hiding." She touched his cheek. "You sound exactly like someone I once knew." The boy smiled. Then his expression changed. "Mother. Do we have a father?" The question struck her like an arrow. Even after 5 years she still had no answer ready. "You do. Then where is he? Why does he never visit?" Luna looked down. "Did he not want us?" Silence filled the mountain. Elara slowly knelt in front of them. "Your father does not know you exist." The children looked confused. "Then we should tell him." A sad smile touched her lips. "Maybe one day." The twins nodded. Children accepted mysteries much easier than adults. Suddenly a horn echoed across the kingdom. The sound was deep and urgent. Mira appeared at the end of the path. Her face looked troubled. "Your Majesty, what happened?" "A messenger has arrived from the northern kingdom." Elara's smile vanished. She had not heard those words in 5 years. The northern kingdom. Kale's kingdom. She followed Mira into the great hall. A man dressed in black armor stood near the throne. He immediately knelt. "Greetings, Ice Luna." Elara remained silent. "Why are you here?" The messenger looked nervous. "King Kale Blackthorn requests your presence at the Winter Summit." "I have no interest in your king." "This is not a request. All neighboring rulers have been summoned. There are rumors of rebellion. War may be coming." The hall became quiet. Elara had spent 5 years rebuilding her kingdom. She would not allow another war to destroy it. She looked at the messenger. "When is the summit?" 3 days from now." Mira stepped forward. "You cannot go alone." "No." The old woman looked carefully at her. "Are you ready to see him again?" The question hung in the air. Elara did not answer. 'Cause she did not know. That night she could not sleep. She stood on her balcony while snow fell around her. 5 years. 5 years since she had last seen those golden eyes. 5 years since she had heard his voice. She had hated him. She had missed him. She had tried to forget him. And failed. A small hand touched hers. Luna stood beside her. "You are sad." "No, little snowflake." "Yes, you are." Children always saw the truth. Luna looked up. "Are we going somewhere?" "Can Rowan and I come?" Elara hesitated. The answer should have been no. But something inside her whispered yes. Perhaps fate had waited long enough. "You may come." The little girl smiled and hugged her. 3 days later a long line of white carriages traveled through the mountains. At the front rode Elara. She wore white armor trimmed with silver. The Ice Luna looked magnificent. As they crossed the final mountain pass, the Blackthorn Palace appeared. Exactly as she remembered. Her heart beat faster. Memories flooded back. Cabin. The fire. The wolf. A king with golden eyes. She pushed the memories away. "You are not that girl anymore." The palace gates slowly opened. Guards lined both sides of the road. People gathered to watch. Whispers spread through the crowd. "The Ice Queen. She is beautiful." No one had seen her before. No one knew the woman entering the palace had once stood in this same courtyard as a frightened girl. A carriage stopped. A servant opened the door. Elara stepped out. Silence fell. Even the wind seemed to stop. Then footsteps echoed across the courtyard. She looked up. Oh. He stood at the top of the stairs. 5 years had changed him too. There was more gray in his dark hair. More sadness in his eyes. He looked tired. Lonely. The moment he saw her, he stopped breathing. Elara. Her name escaped him like a prayer. She said nothing. For a long moment they simply looked at each other. Then Kale slowly walked down the stairs. Every step seemed careful, as though he feared she might disappear again. You are alive. His voice trembled. She lifted her chin. I never intended to die. Pain flashed across his face. I searched for you. For 5 years. Every village. Every kingdom. Every mountain. No. He looked surprised. I heard the stories. A king searching for a lost woman. Silence stretched between them. Kale swallowed. I never stopped regretting that day. Her expression remained calm. Regret changes nothing. Before he could answer, 2 small figures climbed from the carriage. Rowan and Luna. They looked around with wide eyes. Then Luna pointed at Kale. Mother. Who is that man? Kale froze. His gaze slowly moved to the children. Golden eyes. Dark hair. His heart nearly stopped. The little boy looked exactly like him. Exactly. Terrible realization hit him. He looked at Elara. Then back at the twins. Then at Elara again. His voice became barely a whisper. Those children. Who are they? Elara looked directly into his eyes. For the first time in 5 years she saw fear there. Real fear. She took a slow breath. Then she spoke the words that changed everything. They are mine. And they are yours. The entire courtyard fell silent. Even the wind seemed to stop. Kale stared at the 2 children. Then at Elara. Then back at the children again. His face slowly lost all color. They are mine. The words echoed inside his head. His children. His son. His daughter. 5 years. He had lost 5 years. 5 years of first words. First steps. First smiles. An ache spread through his chest. Luna hid behind Elara's dress. Rowan stepped forward instead. He was small but brave. Why are you looking at us like that? Kale opened his mouth. No words came. The boy frowned. Mother said I have your eyes. Tears suddenly burned behind Kale's eyes. He slowly knelt. His hands trembled. What is your name? Rowan. And yours, little one? Luna. The little girl peeked from behind her mother. Kale looked at them as if he were afraid they might disappear. He had dreamed of this moment without ever knowing it. His children. His blood. His family. A soft laugh escaped him. Then a tear. Elara saw it. The mighty Alpha King was crying. Luna blinked. Mother. Why is the big man sad? Nobody answered. Kale finally looked up at Elara. Why did you not tell me? A shadow crossed her face. You lost the right to ask that question 5 years ago. Pain flashed in his eyes. I searched for you. You searched because you regretted your mistake. Not because you trusted me. He stood. I never stopped loving you. Her expression hardened. Love. Is that what you call it? The man I loved stood in a courtyard and let people call me a monster. He let them accuse me. He let them fear me. I was alone. I was carrying your children. Her voice broke for the first time. And you did nothing. Kale looked as though he had been struck. The truth hurt because it was real. Failed you. Silence. The courtyard suddenly felt too small. Too crowded. Too painful. Luna gently pulled on Elara's hand. Mother. Is this our father? Elara closed her eyes for a moment. Then she nodded. The little girl's eyes grew wide. Really? Kale looked at her. The child looked so much like Elara when she smiled. She slowly walked toward him. You are my father. He swallowed hard. Luna looked up at him for several long seconds. Then she smiled. I always wanted one. The words shattered him. He dropped to his knees and pulled her into his arms. For a moment he could not breathe. Luna hugged him back. You are very warm. A broken laugh escaped him. Rowan walked closer. You really are our father. The boy folded his arms. Then you missed my 5th birthday. Kale almost laughed and cried at the same time. I did. And Luna's birthday too. I missed that one as well. The boy looked at him carefully. Then I suppose you owe us many presents. For the first time in years, a genuine smile appeared on Cale's face. Think I owe you everything. Suddenly another voice cut through the courtyard. This is impossible. Everyone turned. Lyra stood at the top of the stairs. She looked horrified. Children. She looked at Elara with hatred. You had children. Then her eyes moved to Cale. You have heirs. A dangerous silence filled the air. Everyone in the palace understood what this meant. The Alpha King had children. The throne had successors. Some people looked happy. Others looked frightened. One of those frightened faces belonged to a man standing in the shadows. Cedric Vale. He had been watching everything. His expression slowly darkened. Heirs changed everything. His plans. His future. His chance at the throne. Well, this could not happen. Meanwhile, Cale still knelt before his children. Will you stay here? Rowan looked at his mother. Luna did the same. Elara spoke softly. We are only here for the summit. Disappointment filled Cale's face. I would like to know my children. They would like to know you too. But that changes nothing between us. He looked at her. No. Do you? Because you cannot fix 5 years with kind words. I never expected to. Silence stretched between them. Then Cale did something no one expected. He lowered his head. I'm sorry. The courtyard gasped. An Alpha King did not apologize. Not publicly. Not to anyone. But Cale remained there. His head bowed. I was proud. I was afraid. I made the worst mistake of my life. I should have protected you. I should have trusted you. I should have searched sooner. I should have found you. His voice trembled. And I will regret it until my last breath. Elara stared at him. The entire palace watched. No one had ever seen their king look so broken. For a brief moment her heart softened. Then she remembered the snow, the fear, the loneliness, and she stepped back. Some wounds do not heal with apologies. His eyes closed. No. A horn suddenly echoed through the palace. One long blast. Then another. A guard ran into the courtyard. Your Majesty. What happened? Child is missing. Everyone froze. The guard looked terrified. Prince Rowan has disappeared. Silence. Then Elara's face turned white. Well, he turned. Luna stood beside her. But Rowan was gone. The little girl began to cry. He was here. He was right here. Panic exploded through the courtyard. Cale's wolf roared inside him. Who took my son? At that exact moment an arrow struck the palace gate. A black ribbon was tied around it. Cale pulled it free. There was only one sentence written on the paper. If you want to see the boy alive, bring the ice Luna to the old ruins before sunrise. Come alone. Cedric smiled from the shadows. The game had finally begun. The palace exploded into chaos. Guards ran in every direction. Torches lit the night. Servants cried. Luna clung to her mother's hand and trembled. Elara could barely breathe. Her son was gone. Only one thought remained in her mind. Find him. She turned toward the gates. Cale caught her arm. You are not going alone. He took my child. Child. The words hit him hard. For a moment neither of them moved. Then Cale nodded. Child. His golden eyes darkened. And we will bring him back. He looked toward his guards. Prepare horses. Seal the palace. No one enters. No one leaves. The guards obeyed immediately. But from the shadows Cedric watched everything with calm eyes. Exactly as he had planned. An hour later the old ruins stood before them. The ancient stones rose from the snow like broken teeth. Moonlight covered the place in silver. The wind carried an eerie silence. Elara's heart pounded. Rowan. She called his name. No answer. Cale stepped in front of her. Stay close. She almost argued. Then she saw the look in his eyes. Pure fear. He was terrified too. A laugh suddenly echoed through the ruins. Slow clapping followed. A man stepped from the shadows. Cedric. Cale's entire body went rigid. Cedric smiled. Has been a long time, my king. Where is my son? Straight to the point. I expected nothing less. Tell me. Cedric slowly raised his hand. Behind him another figure appeared. Rowan. The little boy was tied to a stone pillar. His eyes widened. Mother. Father. Elara almost ran toward him. A knife appeared in Cedric's hand. One more step and the boy dies. He froze. Kale's wolf roared inside him. What do you want? Cedric laughed. Everything. The throne. The kingdom. The power that should have been mine. You betrayed me. I did more than betray you. I threw you into that ravine. I left you there to die. Silence. Even the wind seemed to stop. Kale's hands curled into fists. I spent years standing beside you while everyone praised the great Alpha King. I grew tired of being your shadow. Elara looked at him with horror. You kidnapped a child for a crown. Cedric's smile vanished. Do not judge me. You know nothing of loss. The words made her angry. I know everything about loss. For a second something strange flashed across his face. Then it disappeared. He looked at Elara. You are just like your mother. Her breath caught. My mother. The snow seemed to freeze around them. Cedric smiled again. Beautiful. Kind. Weak. Elara slowly stepped forward. You knew my mother. I killed her. Silence. The world stopped. Kale looked at him in shock. Cedric. 25 years ago I walked into the ice palace. I put a sword through your father's heart. I watched your mother die. Then I burned your kingdom to the ground. Elara could no longer breathe. Well, you lie. I do not. Your mother begged me to spare you. She placed that little snowflake necklace around your neck. Then she died. A cry escaped Elara's lips. All her life she had wondered. Who killed her family? Who destroyed her kingdom? The monster had been standing beside Kale all along. You murdered my parents. Tears filled her eyes. And you tried to kill Kale. And now I will kill your son. The scream shook the ruins. Ice exploded across the ground. Snow rose into the air. The sky turned white. Cedric's smile faded. Blue light appeared around Elara. The power sleeping inside her for years had awakened completely. The Ice Luna had arrived. She slowly lifted her head. Her eyes glowed like winter stars. You took everything from me. Her voice echoed through the ruins. You murdered my family. You stole my childhood. You threatened my son. The snowstorm grew stronger. Cedric stepped back. For the first time fear appeared on his face. Kale stared at her in awe. She looked like a queen of legends, a goddess of ice. I will end this tonight. The ground beneath Cedric's feet froze. He quickly pushed Rowan aside and drew his sword. Guards emerged from the shadows. Dozens of them. Traitors. They had followed Cedric. Kale transformed instantly. A giant black wolf appeared. The battle began. Steel clashed. Snow exploded. The ruins shook. Elara reached Rowan and cut his ropes. Mother. He threw himself into her arms. She held him tightly. Have you? Have you? Then a scream echoed through the battlefield. He turned. Cedric stood behind him. A dagger buried deep in the Alpha King's side. Poison. Dark blood stained the snow. Kale stumbled. The black wolf collapsed. Elara ran to him. Cedric laughed. The poison comes from the southern vipers. No healer can save him. Kale looked up at her. His face had already turned pale. Run. Take the children and run. I'm not leaving you. His hand touched her cheek. For a moment they were back inside the little cabin. A wounded wolf. A lonely girl. Fire. Promise. I never stopped loving you, Elara. Tears ran down her face. Do not say that. Failed you. I failed our children. But I loved you every day. Every single day. His eyes slowly began to close. Stay with me. A cold laugh echoed through the ruins. Cedric raised his sword. Tonight 2 royal bloodlines die. Then something impossible happened. A brilliant silver light appeared in the sky. Clouds parted. Moonlight poured over the ruins. Everyone stopped. A woman's voice echoed across the mountains. Touch my chosen children again, and face my wrath. A figure slowly descended from the sky. A woman dressed in silver. Beautiful. Radiant. Her eyes glowed like the moon itself. The moon goddess had come. The ruins fell into complete silence. The woman floating above the snow looked as if she had been carved from moonlight itself. Her silver hair moved gently in the cold wind. Her white dress glowed. The stars seemed to bow before her. No one dared to breathe. Cedric's sword slipped from his hand. The moon goddess. His voice trembled. The goddess slowly lowered herself to the ground. Her eyes were ancient. Powerful. Yet when she looked at Rowan and Luna, her face softened. My little stars. The twins stared at her in wonder. Luna blinked. Are you an angel? A smile touched the goddess's lips. Something like that. Then her eyes moved to Elara. The ice Luna knelt without even realizing it. The goddess stepped closer. Rise, child. You kneel to no one tonight. Elara slowly stood. Tears still covered her face. Kale lay bleeding in her arms. Please, save him. The goddess looked at the wounded Alpha. Then at the poison spreading through his veins. The poison cannot be healed by magic. Elara's heart shattered. But his fate has not been decided. Hope flickered again. Cedric suddenly found his voice. Why are you here? The goddess looked at him. Because your greed has stained these lands for too long. Because you murdered the innocent. Because you dared to raise your hand against my chosen bloodline. The ground beneath Cedric's feet trembled. He stepped back. I'm not afraid of you. The lie was clear. The goddess raised one hand. The snow around the ruins suddenly rose into the air. Thousands of snowflakes danced like shining stars. You should be. Cedric roared and grabbed his sword. I will not lose everything. He ran toward Elara. Toward the children. Kale tried to stand. His body refused. Elara stepped in front of her family. Blue light burst from her hands. Ice exploded across the ground. The snowstorm became a hurricane. Cedric kept coming. Then Rowan raised his hand. A wall of ice appeared before his mother. Luna lifted both hands. Snow wrapped around Cedric's legs. The man screamed as he fell. Silence followed. The children looked at each other in surprise. Did we do that? The goddess smiled. You did. Cedric tried to stand. The ice held him tightly. The goddess looked down at him. Your story ends here. I deserve the throne. You deserve nothing. The ice climbed higher. Cedric's fear became real. Please spare me. Elara stepped forward. For a moment she saw him not as a monster, but as the man who had destroyed her life. The man who had murdered her parents. The man who had tried to kill her child. Her voice was calm. Did my mother beg you to spare her? Cedric lowered his eyes. Did my father ask for mercy? Did my son deserve to die tonight? Tears ran down her face. Then neither do you. The ice reached his chest. Cedric screamed. The sound echoed across the mountains. Then suddenly it stopped. The storm became still. The man who had destroyed 2 kingdoms was gone. Only ice remained. A long silence followed. Then the traitor soldiers slowly dropped their weapons. One by one. No one wished to fight anymore. The nightmare had ended. Elara fell to her knees beside Kale. His breathing had become weak. Very weak. She touched his face. Stay with me. His eyes slowly opened. You won. We won. A faint smile appeared on his lips. You still say we. She could not answer. Because despite everything she still could not imagine a world without him. Kale looked at the twins. They are beautiful. They are. I wish I had known them sooner. A tear slid down Elara's cheek. You still can. He looked at her. Hope appeared in his eyes. Nay. She opened her mouth. Then closed it again. The answer frightened her. The goddess stepped forward. There is one way to save him. Everyone looked at her. Way. The bond between mates. Kale and Elara stared at her. You are true mates. A bond created by fate itself. But it was broken by fear and regret. If you choose to forgive each other, the bond can heal him. Silence. Elara's heart pounded. Forgive. After all the pain. All the years. Kale looked at her. I do not deserve forgiveness. Perhaps not. But I would spend the rest of my life earning it. The words hung in the cold air. Luna walked to her mother. Please save him. Rowan nodded. We just found him. Do not let him leave. The children held her hands. Elara looked at Kale. At the man who had hurt her. At the man who had searched for her. At the man who had cried when he learned he had children. At the wolf who had refused to leave her cabin. Slowly she placed her hand over his. I cannot forget the past. His eyes filled with sadness. No. But perhaps one day I can forgive it. A soft golden light appeared between them. The mate bond awakened. Kale gasped. The poison stopped spreading. Warmth returned to his face. The children smiled. The goddess stepped back. It is done. Kale looked at Elara as if she had given him the world. Thank you. Do not thank me yet. You still owe our children 5 years of birthdays. A laugh escaped him. Then another. For the first time in years the sound was full of life. The eastern sky slowly turned pink. Dawn had come. The goddess looked toward the rising sun. My time here is over. Luna grabbed her hand. Will we see you again? The goddess touched the little girl's cheek. Whenever the moon shines, I will be watching. She looked at Elara. The moon throne now belongs to your family. Protect it well. Then she began to disappear. Elara stepped forward. Yes. The goddess smiled. 'Cause your story is not finished. Her eyes moved to the twins. And because another little star is still coming. Before anyone could ask what she meant, the light vanished. The goddess was gone. Silence filled the ruins once more. Then a distant bell echoed from the palace. A servant came running through the snow. Your Majesty. Your Majesty. He looked terrified. What is it? The servant stopped before them. There is someone waiting in the palace nursery. Someone carrying a baby. And she says the child belongs to the Alpha King. The journey back to the palace felt unreal. No one spoke. The first light of dawn painted the mountains gold. Kale rode beside Elara. Rowan sat in front of him. Luna slept in her mother's arms. Baby. The words still echoed in everyone's minds. Someone carrying a baby. Someone claiming the child belonged to the Alpha King. At last the palace gates appeared. The courtyard was crowded. Servants whispered nervously. Guards stood in silence. A woman waited at the top of the stairs. She was old. Her gray hair hung to her shoulders. In her arms rested a small bundle wrapped in white cloth. Kale climbed from his horse. Who are you? The old woman lowered her head. My name is Helena, and I have come to keep a promise. She slowly held out the child. The baby opened its eyes. Little girl. She could not have been older than 2 years. Golden eyes. Exactly like Kale's. The Alpha King froze. Elara stared in surprise. The little girl looked at Kale and smiled. Then she reached her tiny hands toward him. The old woman began to cry. Her mother died 3 days ago. She served in your army many years ago. She never told anyone about the child because she feared the palace. But before she died, she made me promise to bring the girl to her father. Silence filled the courtyard. Kale looked completely stunned. I did not know. I swear to the moon goddess I did not know. Elara looked at him. She could see the truth in his eyes. He was just as shocked as everyone else. Helena nodded. The child's mother never blamed you. She only wished for her daughter to know her family. The little girl continued reaching toward Kale. Slowly he took her into his arms. The child laughed. A soft broken sound escaped his throat. Another child. Another daughter. He looked at Elara. I do not know what to say. Before she could answer, Luna suddenly climbed down from her mother's arms. She walked toward the little girl. Hello. The child blinked. I am Luna. The little girl smiled. Rowan stepped closer. I am Rowan. You are small. The child laughed again. Everyone smiled. Children had a way of making impossible moments feel simple. Elara slowly walked toward them. The little girl looked up at her. Then without warning she held out her arms. Elara took her. The child rested her head against her shoulder. A strange warmth filled her chest. What is her name? Helena wiped her tears. Her mother called her Stella. Elara smiled softly. It suits her. Cale looked at the woman holding the child. The sight did something strange to his heart. She already looked like family. Helena bowed deeply. My promise is fulfilled. Thank you. Cale's voice was quiet. You brought my daughter home. The old woman smiled through her tears. Then she left. Morning sunlight slowly filled the courtyard. The kingdom had changed in a single night. The traitor was dead. The war was over. The royal family had grown. A voice suddenly echoed from the palace doors. Make way for the Alpha King. The nobles entered the courtyard. One by one they dropped to their knees. Then the guards. Then the servants. The entire palace knelt. Cale frowned. An old lord stepped forward. Your Majesty, the kingdom has witnessed the truth. The Ice Luna saved your life. She defeated the traitor. She protected the heirs. There is only one woman worthy of standing beside the Alpha King. The old man turned toward Elara. Rise, Queen Elara. The courtyard erupted. Long live the Queen. Long live the Ice Luna. The words echoed across the mountains. Elara stood frozen. 5 years ago these same people had called her cursed. Now they called her queen. Tears filled her eyes. Cale stepped beside her. This time there was no fear in his face. No hesitation. Only certainty. He held out his hand. Failed you once. I will never fail you again. You owe me many years. A small smile touched his lips. Then give me the rest of my life to repay them. She looked at him. At the man who had once been a wounded wolf. At the king who had searched the world for her. At the father standing beside their children. Slowly she placed her hand in his. Cheers filled the courtyard. Luna jumped with excitement. Rowan grinned. Little Stella clapped her tiny hands. Cale gently lifted Elara's hand and kissed it. Welcome home, my queen. The words brought tears to her eyes. For the first time in her life she truly felt she belonged somewhere. That evening a great celebration filled the palace. Music echoed through every hall. Snow fell softly outside. The children chased each other across the ballroom. Luna wore a tiny silver crown. Rowan carried a wooden sword. Little Stella followed them everywhere. Elara stood near the window. She watched her children and smiled. Cale joined her. They are loud. They are perfect. Silence settled between them. Then he spoke softly. Do you think we can be a family? She looked at him. Family is not built in one day. No. But I would like to try. She smiled. I would like that too. For a long moment neither of them moved. Then Cale wrapped an arm around her. She did not pull away. Outside the moon rose high above the kingdom. Beautiful and bright. Suddenly a soft silver light appeared on the balcony. The moon goddess. She smiled at the family inside. The children are safe. The kingdoms are united. And the moon throne finally has its rightful rulers. Elara bowed her head. Thank you. The goddess laughed softly. Do not thank me yet. Your story is only beginning. Cale frowned. What do you mean? The goddess looked at Elara. A new little star already shines within you. Silence. Elara blinked. Cale stared at her. Then at the goddess. Then back at Elara. You mean? The goddess smiled. A third heir is coming. Luna suddenly shouted from across the room. Another baby. Rowan nearly dropped his wooden sword. Stella clapped again. Cale looked completely speechless. Then slowly a smile spread across his face. A real smile. One filled with joy. He pulled Elara into his arms. She laughed for the first time in many years without sadness. Outside, the snow continued to fall. Inside the palace, a king and queen stood together with their children. No more secrets, no more loneliness, no more fear. Only love, only family. And beneath the silver moon, the Alpha King and his Ice Luna finally found their happily ever after.